Real quickly before we begin, I want to thank this video's sponsor, CarMarshal.com. CarMarshal.com can save you lots of money on buying used or new vehicles, cars, trucks, school buses. If you want to save money, I'll have a link in the description down below. I know I'm going to...
Mike Scott, Sheriff. John Holloway, Legal Director. April, 2014. Mr. Nathan Friedwessler, American Civil Liberties Union Foundation. 125 Broad Street, 18111 floor. New York, New York, 10004-2400. Re. 119 request. Dear Mr. Wessler, State of Florida, County of Lee. Pursuant to your 119 request, please find a copy of the redacted electronic surveillance support team multi-agency voluntary cooperation mutual aid agreement with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We have supplied all information obtained, however. Supplemental responses are anticipated to be provided. Sincerely, Electronic Surveillance Support Team. Multi-Agency Voluntary Cooperation Mutual Aid Agreement. This Voluntary Cooperation Mutual Aid Agreement, MA hereinafter, is entered into by and between the below subscribed law enforcement agencies, to wit, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE, and those agencies that, with approval of FDLE, choose to enter into this agreement pursuant to the Florida Mutual Aid Act, Section 23.12-23.127, in furtherance of their respective duties under law for the purpose of facilitating and providing technical assistance and equipment in criminal investigations in Florida. The parties have determined that they can make efficient use of their powers and resources, in certain criminal cases which may require specialized expertise and have the potential to cross jurisdictional lines, through coordination and sharing of specialized technical resources and personnel of the parties. The parties agree to carry out their respective duties and responsibilities as outlined below, subject to controlling law, policies, or procedures, and in consideration of the mutual interests and understandings herein expressed. 1. FDLE and each agency party to this agreement have executed the signature page attached hereto as Addendum A, which includes specific information concerning the geographic scope of this agreement, identification of the agency party entering into this agreement, and other particular information, all of which is incorporated herein as though fully set out in the text of the main agreement. 2. FDLE and each agency party to this, including but not limited to 1. N surveillance allocation of subjects of violent criminal or missing persons investigations. Use of this equipment will generally be referred to in this mal / as electronic surveillance support, S. 3. Technical assistance is necessary for the deployment and effective use and operation of these technical assets, and certain requests for S services may require more resources, specially trained personnel or advanced technical equipment than a single agency can provide. 4. This MA establishes and governs regional electronic surveillance support teams, ESST, in the state of Florida that may provide resources and equipment and the personnel to operate them anywhere in Florida upon request by any law enforcement agency within the state. However, it is understood that such teams will normally operate within the geographical areas that comprise 1 or 2 FDLE operations center regions. These standard operational areas for the teams are set forth in Addendum A. This assistance will include our similar technical support as requested. 5. Each agency party to this MA agrees to provide S upon request within their standard operational area as set forth in Addendum A, and may provide assistance elsewhere in the state contingent upon availability and approval of their agency. 6. Nothing contained in this MA is intended to prevent personnel from performing their normal duties as assigned by their respective agencies. 7. Each party agrees that all unit members assigned to the ESST must be knowledgeable on the deployment and lawful use of the S equipment before utilizing it in the field. Jurisdiction 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, 8.4, 8.5. L. 8.6, 8.7. When engaged in ESST operations that have been approved by and involve Fdle, as contemplated by this MA, ESST members who do not otherwise have jurisdictional authority shall have full jurisdictional authority anywhere in the state of Florida, although principally focused within their standard operational area as set forth in Addendum A, with full power to enforce Florida laws and to avail themselves of the provision of this agreement. Officers assigned to ESST operations pursuant to this MA shall be empowered to render law enforcement assistance and take law enforcement action in accordance with the law and the terms of this MM. Execution of this MA and continued participation by Fdle and each party agency shall constitute a general reciprocal, continuing request for and granting of assistance between the members of the team that shall be considered authorized in accordance with the provisions of this MA. No additional or specific formal request for assistance is required. ESST members operating outside their agency's jurisdiction shall not enjoy extra-jurisdictional authority as law enforcement officers unless engaged in approved ESST activities as stated herein. Pursuant to Section 23.127, 1, Florida statutes, employees of agencies that are parties to this agreement participating in the ESST shall, when engaging in authorized mutual cooperation and assistance pursuant to this MA, have the same powers, duties, rights, privilege, and immunities as if the employees were performing the law enforcement jury and disciplinary area of their respective agencies. If.T. Activities shall be considered authorized only when approved and directed as provided herein by an Fdle supervisor or command designee. If at any time an Fdle supervisor or command designee determines that S assistance pursuant to this MA should be terminated, it shall be promptly terminated in a manner assuring the safety of all involved law enforcement officers. No ESST member shall engage in activities outside the jurisdictional territory of his or her agency, except as approved by the ESST coordinator or designee, and any such activity must be documented as provided herein. The ESST coordinator or designee shall maintain activities logs that will demonstrate the involvement of specific employees or agents provided by the parties to this MA, including each operations supervisor or designated leader. Specific authorization and approval from both Fdle and the respective party agency supervisory personnel shall be obtained when non-Fdle team members will be acting with Fdle outside of their standard operational area as set forth in Addendum A. Fdle shall be entitled to conduct audits and inspections of task force operations and records. 8.8 Whenever an operation occurs outside of a team's standard operational area is set forth in Addendum A, the SAC for the Fdle office in the region affected shall be notified about the presence of the ESST personnel in his or her region. 8.9 Nothing herein shall otherwise limit the jurisdiction and powers normally possessed by an employee or member of a party agency. 9 Each party hereto agrees that all unit members participating in any ESST team shall comply with all applicable Fdle policy and procedures while in any Fdle workplace. However, party agency policy and procedures shall govern such members if there is a conflict. Any such conflict regarding rules, standards, policies, or procedures shall be promptly reported to the ESST coordinator or designee, and the ESST unit commander, if one has been designated. Fdle and the respective agency shall attempt to resolve the conflict in a manner that will allow this MA to continue in full effect. 10. Each party hereto agrees that all unit members assigned to any ESST team during ESST activities will remain under the supervision of the Fdle ESST coordinator or designee. ESST unit members will for all other purposes remain agents and employees of their respective agencies and are not Fdle employees. 11. Each party hereto agrees that each will retain full responsibility for and payment of salary, including overtime compensation or compensatory time, retirement/pension, insurance, disability, workers' compensation benefits and any other employment benefits for the respective agency's members participating in an ESST team. 12. Each party acknowledges that its employees acting pursuant to the MA are obligated to follow applicable law regarding their activities and are to seek legal guidance and approval prior to engaging in activity that has not been clearly addressed by statute or case law. Each party agrees that each party will assume its own liability and responsibility for the acts, omissions or conduct of such its own employees while such employees are engaged in activities or initiatives pursuant to this MA. 13. Each party agrees to maintain its own comprehensive general liability insurance, professional liability insurance, and automotive liability insurance or maintain a self-insuring fund for the term of this MA and the amounts determined by each party to insure adequately such party's liability assumed herein. However, in no event shall such coverage be less than the statutory waiver of sovereign immunity. Each party agrees to provide the other parties with a copy of the respective insurance required hereunder, including the endorsements thereto and renewals thereto. In the event a party maintains a self-insurance fund, such party agrees to provide the other parties with documentation to substantiate the existence and maintenance of such self-insurance fund. 14. Each party agrees that except as otherwise provided herein, each agency will furnish to its own employees the necessary property, police equipment, vehicles, resources, and training in order to effect the purposes of this MA and further agree to bear the costs of expenses associated with the operation, maintenance, or damage to its equipment, vehicles or property so provided. 15. Each party agrees that the privileges and immunities from liability, exemption from laws, ordinances and rules and application of all pension, insurance, relief, disability, workers' compensation, salary, including overtime compensation or compensatory time, death and other benefits that apply to the activity of an employee when performing the employee's duties shall apply to the employee to the same degree, manner, and extent while such employee acts under this MA. 16. Each party hereto agrees that unit members assigned to an ESST must pass a Fdle background investigation. Members may be issued keys and or access cards to limited areas within the Fdle facilities by Fdle, LF approved by the Fdle regional special agent in charge, and that thereafter assigned ESST members will abide by Fdle building security procedures. Each party agrees that its members, other than unit members, must be escorted while inside FOLE buildings, in accordance with Fdle building security protocols. 17. This MA shall become effective upon signature of the authorized representative of the parties, and shall remain in effect unless otherwise terminated until June 30, 2016. Any party, upon 90 days written notice, may terminate this MM. This agreement may be renewed every 4 years. This MA represents the entire agreement between the parties. Any alteration or amendment of the provisions of this MA shall only be valid upon being reduced to writing, duly signed by authorized personnel of each of the parties and attached to the original 19. This agreement shall remain in full force as to ATL participating agency parties until or unless earlier cancelled in writing by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement as to all or separate parties, or as cancelled in writing by an individual party as provided herein. However, if the ESST continues operations beyond June 30, 2016, the agreement shall be automatically extended on a month-by-month basis, not to extend past December 31, 2016. Until such time as each participating party has ratified a revised or subsequent written agreement. 20. This agreement may be duplicated for dissemination to all parties, and such duplicates shall be of the same force and effect as the original. Execution of this agreement may be signified by properly signing a separate signature page, the original of which shall be returned to, and maintained by, the Office of the Special Agent in Charge, SAC, Florida Department of Law Enforcement for the areas as specified in Addendum A attached hereto and made a part hereof. Under no circumstances may this agreement be renewed, amended, or extended, except in writing. A copy of this agreement, WLTH all signature pages, will be filed with the Fdle Mutual Aid Office pursuant to statute. In witness whereof, the Commissioner of Fdle has signed below and the authorized representative of the agency party has signed Addendum A, attached, on the date specified. Gerald Bailey, Commissioner, Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Addendum A. Party agencies' acceptance of the Electronic Surveillance Team, ESST, voluntary cooperation mutual aid agreement. Duration, signature date to June 30, 2016. Pursuant to FS 23.1225, 3, this mutual aid agreement may be entered into by a chief executive officer of the agency that is authorized to contractually bind the agency. By signing below, an indication of such authorization is being made. Any signatory may attach to this signature page and any further evidence of authorization you wish to remain on file at Fdle. Along with this signature page. Team Standard Operational Area, Fort Myers Regional Operations Center, Charlotte, Collier, Lee, Manatee, Sarasota, DeSoto, Glades, Hendry, Highlands, and Okeechobee counties. Agency Party, Lee County Sheriff's Office. Agency Head Sheriff Mike Scott. Agency date signed.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Copwatch, and I just wanted you to know that I am using this stuff under fair use. And also remember to like and subscribe this channel. Also too, keep in mind I do not make any money on YouTube. This is 5 hours work a day, you know, fighting for freedom. And you can donate with PayPal and Patreon. I just want you to think about this. If everybody gives to PayPal and Patreon, Patreon is every month. Actually, PayPal you can do every month. I have 12,000 subscribers. If everybody gives, I can quit my regular job and go full-time investigations on Charlotte County and possibly even more and beyond. So just keep that in mind. If everybody helps out, I can go full-time doing this. Thanks.